continuing with our animation, so far we have seen how to include shapes, how to um, change position, how to keyframe positions. As we can see, the chicken moving from right to left. Okay, so that is it. Now, bear in mind that this is After Effects 2024 version. So newer versions have just tiny modifications on how things appear, which should not be a problem. Now the next thing we are going to do is tweak or work around the text and even animate it. Okay, so let's look for our text layer, which is enjoy. We've selected it. We can go to the type tool and then we'll make modifications to it like we have. Okay, now we can select, do Control A or Command A to select the full thing. We can see over here we have different paragraph styles. On the side we have left align, center align, right align. Okay, and we can change the color of the text over here. So there is fill, which is this current color. We can change it to white if we want. You can see how it looks. You can also change it to any color at all. You can also give it a stroke. Okay, and you can change the color of the stroke to maybe red. It's just so we can see what is happening here. We can increase the width of the stroke, so you can see. We can change it from we can change how the joints appear over here. Then there is fill over stroke, there is stroke over fill. That is to say, will the stroke fill? Let me increase it. You can see the difference over here, fill over stroke versus stroke over fill. In other words, the stroke effect comes on top of the fill. Okay, this is the fill. I'm going to hide it. You can see when I bring it back, this is the fill. Now this is the stroke. Okay, and the stroke can be this, as you're seeing it. So do we want, I'm bringing back the fill, do we want the stroke to be on top of the fill or the fill to be on top of the stroke? So that's what this has to do with. I don't want to work with strokes on the text layer yet. So this is it. Now there are different forms of animations we can do with this. I'd want us to move to effects. Okay, so effects over here, and then we have, I want us to do some text effects. There are different forms of effects. There are 3D effects, effects for audio, as you can see, backwards, delay, etc. We have blur. If you want to blur objects, there are different types of blur you can use. Color correction, distort, bend it, bender, split, tiler, etc. Different expressions. You can generate different things, audio spectrums and things like that. Keying, matte, noise and grain. So let's move straight to text effect. And of course there is transitions, how you move from one frame to another. Okay, so now we want to animate this text. We need to look for effects. So when we drag down, and we can see effects and presets over here. I'm going to drag down. After clicking on it, you can see there are different effects over here, just as we saw at the top. When we clicked effect, we see different effect styles here. We see text, transitions, and a whole lot like that. Let's try and use the transitions and see how things turn out. So we can do a linear wipe. Okay, so let's try the linear wipe. I'm going to double click it, and then it is applied on that particular layer. So basically, when you're doing transitions, you need to keyframe. How do you want to begin and how do you want to end? So let's just assume this is how we want to end. So I'm going to keyframe transition completion. We can always change the values. Okay, so we can move this, and then we can begin tweaking the transitions. You can see what is happening over here as I move this. Okay, now mind you, you don't need to always transition everything. For instance, if you want the wipe angle to stay on one side, now what do I mean by the wipe angle? Now just observe how it turns from being exactly straight to bending. It means I can bend things like this. Okay, now if you don't need to always change the angle, you don't need to keyframe the wide angle. There is also feather to make the edges, faint. Okay, if you don't need to always change the feather, you don't need to keyframe it. You just need to select the value you want. So let's just say this is what we want, and this is how our transition starts and ends. Okay, so in the beginning we would want it to be totally gone. Okay, totally gone, but I want it to be the other way around, so we can make it this way instead. So in the beginning we want it to be totally gone this way, so we keyframe this point. Okay, I'm going to open the properties of it. You can see text transform effect over here. So linear wipe here is the effect we applied from over here, that is appearing here in our effects panel. Linear wipe, I can even open it wider, so we can see the two keyframes that I use. So it moves like this. The wipe angle, which is here, is there. The feather is also there. You get it? Now what if I want my keyframe, my animation to start from here? I can move the keyframe here so that it can start showing the animation right from here. Okay, and I can also cause a delay by shifting it to this side, and you can see it doesn't appear till I reach this point, and then it quickly shows up. You get it? So let me just spread it for now. So this is what we have so far. You get it? So that is it. Now, so we've learned how to do a few animations or effects. Let's try out other effects and see. So there is let's try and use an effect on the chicken. Maybe we can use an effect like CC Jaws. Let's just see how it goes. So I've applied it on the chicken, and this is how CC Jaws goes like. Okay, you can see the completion level. You can change the direction, the height, the width. You can change it. You can change the shapes, how it, you know, shows. You get it, and then you can keyframe it and all that. Now, if we don't like the effect, we can delete it right here. I mean, the moment you select your layer, we have the effect controls here. There is project where all your items are. There is animation composer. That is a plugin you download from Mr. Horse. We'll move there. And then there is also the effects control that shows the current effect you've applied. I can select the effect and then click delete to remove the effect. So we no longer have that animation here. Okay. Now, there are different animation styles that we can do aside using these transitions and other effects over here, but you can explore the effects over here. There are other easy ways of animating the things we have, and that will be using the animation composer. So let me duplicate the enjoy that we have over here. Let me duplicate it. I can duplicate it by clicking Command or Control D. So you can see I have two enjoy text here. I'll hide the first one, and then we have the second one. Okay, and always be saving your works so that you don't lose your works when the software crashes. So I'm going to delete, I've selected the text, I'm going to delete the effect within that layer or that text. So if we move, you can see there is nothing, there is no animation on the text, but we can do some easy animations with Animation Composer. If you don't find Animation Composer here, you can just go to Windows and then Animation Composer 3. The moment you click it, you will have it, and then you can move it around. You can choose where to place it. I choose to place it here because it's easier for me. So with Animation Composer, there are different kinds of animations you can apply. You can see browse and edit here. So on the browse, you can see there is starter presets, there is starter pre-comps, and starter sounds. So these are easy assets and animation plugins you can use. So you can see different forms of animations being illustrated here. Let's apply this animation on our text. So I click on it, I click in. In means it begins. Out means that's where it ends. So to illustrate this better, I'm going to cut this into two. I'm going to split it over here. I'm going to split the text so that we can have an early end. I can do that by going to edit and then split layer. It will just split it. Or I can do Control Shift D or Command Shift D. That's when you're using a Mac. So that splits it for me over here, and then I can delete this layer or the duplicate split. Okay, so I have a short text layer. It begins from here, 0 seconds, and ends somewhere around 3.2 seconds. You can see where it ends. Okay, so assuming this is my animation, assuming I say, okay, let's start in the beginning, or animate in like that. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to play it, and then you can see how it comes in. Okay, and it's always working with the anchor point. Now supposing, let me increase this, I press the plus to be able to maximize. Let me move this ahead to say that let the animation take time to take effect. And then you can see how it bounces in. I'm going to drag this a bit so that you can see. So it drags in like this, and then you can see it. Now the moment an effect is applied over there, it appears at the effect controls. So you can see, going back to the animation composer, you can edit that effect over here. Okay, I'm going back to browse, and then I'll add it at the out so that you can see how it appears on the out as well. So you can see there is TR out here. How does it appear? It goes like that. So like this, and goes out like that. Now that was very fast. We can choose to prolong or move this so that we have some more time to witness it as it goes back. So this is transitioning it out. Simple ways to animate. Now at the effects panel, you can see in, that is this, and out, and that is this. And we can choose to remove any of them. You can choose to select any of them and then remove by clicking remove. Okay, we can also copy this animation style and paste it on another text. So let's see, I've turned it off. Our old text without any animation. I'm going to bring it here, and I'll change the text to eat. Okay, and I'll make the text white. Yeah, I'll make it white. Okay, so I'll bring back our first text, which is enjoy. And let me hide the chicken for now. So I'll click the I to hide it. Now, and let me just also cut the text. Ctrl+Shift+D, cut it or split the text. I can delete the excess one. And so we have two texts here. Now I can choose to select the text with animation and copy the animation in, and then paste it on, and select this and paste the animation. I go to presets and then paste animation. The moment I paste the animation, you can see the in over here, it has been pasted. So it also has the same animation. Now we can still see some effects, some fades over here. It means that our previous effect we applied on the effect panel is still there. So when we go to effects, we can see the linear wipe is still there. We can hide it by clicking effects, and then we can see that the animation doesn't appear again, although it's still there. We don't want to delete it for now. So that is it with the text animation side. Now, so this is it. How do we remove? We can remove in and it's gone. Okay, we can remove out, it's also gone. You get it. Sometimes you can also, I've selected this, which has the effect. You can also go to presets and then copy all presets or transitions in, or you can also remove all at the same time. If you copy, you have to move to where you want to paste it. Go here and click paste, and then it will paste. Okay, now let's try different animation styles. We have let's move away from these ones, and mind you, these animations are affected by our anchor points. So I've selected this. If you are not seeing these things here, make sure you click this. to bring them so that you'll be able to see what you are clicking on. Okay, now these anchor point, this is an anchor point. It means this is the center point of this text, so this is where it animates from. Okay, so you can see what is happening here. But what if I change the center point to somewhere else? I can do that by selecting Y, okay, or I move here, select this, which is anchor point 2. Then I click it and move that thing. So you can see the anchor point as I'm moving it. I can move it here. Now observe how the animation appears. It doesn't go from the side again, it goes from the middle. As you can see, it goes from the middle. So you can always animate like that. Now, going back, which other animations can we use in Animation Composer? When I go down, you can see different sorts of animations. You can apply them not only on text, but on other objects, shapes, and things like that. And then we have text animations. These are for only text. You can see how it fits in like that. So from end, from start, I want it to be from start. Click on in and then play. You can see how it appears. So there are a lot of animation styles like that, and you can do a combination of several of them. So we have one already. We can also add another one. Which one are we going to? We can bring this one that moves up like this. So I add it. So we have two different effects here. Now let me play the video for you to see. You see what happens over here. It moves from bottom to up and also shows you the text from left to right. Okay, so that is also an animation style. Let's turn off the eat and then save. So this is it. This is text animation.